All right. Thanks for joining us for Integrate This EdTech podcast. We're very excited with this episode to try some of the things from the previous episode and our interview with Amber Deering from Quizizz. We made contact with Amber about a year ago or so at a conference, and it was very eye-opening, all the different things that Quizizz can do. So as Jeremy and I like to do with when we have an interview and they give us some great ideas, we like on the follow-up episode to try to apply those ideas. Sometimes that falls flat, sometimes it works out great, but that's where we're at right now. We are actually going to be doing a little bit of an overview of Quizizz, which Jeremy will take care of, kind of the ins and outs of what you can find within that platform, some of the interesting things that they're doing with AI. I'm going to do a bit of a deep dive into creating a lesson plan from scratch and how you can utilize the Google Slides add-on for Quizizz, which is available as well. And then Jeremy's going to take us through and explain how flashcards work within the Quizizz platform. So buckle up. We're going to have some fun here, trying some things out for our first go at it. And hopefully you'll be able to come away with some cool ideas.
Yeah, it's always fun to be able to kind of take someone's idea and then try to put your own spin on it and try to think of like clever, creative ways that either yourself or others could take what was what we gathered from that interview and put it to good use here. So when you go to Quizizz, and if you don't have an account, of course, you can sign up for free for an educator account. I've already got one, so I'm going to click on the log in screen. And continue with Google because that's how I use my sign-on. And you'll see that once you get in there, they've got some sort of promo going that they're trying to donate money to worthy causes. So you can, if you're watching this right away and that promo is going on, if you give a shout out or thanks to someone, they're going to donate a dollar to the worthy cause. But once you're in Quizizz, it lays out the menu very handedly over here on the left-hand side. You can see that I have part of the ECMEC domain and school district. And yours, of course, would say whatever yours happen to be. And there's some handy features over here on this left-hand side. David's going to talk about a lot about these different options that are available here in the Create menu. So I'm just going to show you that that's where it is. They have a neat Explore feature here where you can, and that's by default the one that the screen that you're on, where you can just type in any topic that you have and find out what content has already been created by other Quizizz users that has been made public. And you might be able to steal some ideas from those of others. There is a library area that shows different activities that you have created, whether the lesson plans or flashcards or any of the other activities that are there. One nice feature here that I think is pretty helpful for teachers to be able to look at how much usage is getting put into their activities they create by going into the reports menu. And you can see I only have a couple here just because I sent it out to a demo class that I have. That doesn't show that it's been used a ton, but you know, if I were in there playing around with it, you could see a lot more activity within there. Other things that you would be able to do with this, you can connect it to your Google Classroom if you're a Google Classroom user. And there are some other options if you are using any of these others like Canvas or Schoology, but those would be the premium features that you would have to have that purchase paid for account to be able to use. But it looks like if you're a Teams user, you can also have the ability to send out your content to those different classes as well. There's the ability to create accommodations for certain groups of students once you had your kids in there. They also are promoting some new features with their Quizizz AI. which we'll explore a little bit as part of the flashcards. But there's also a toolkit down here that includes, kind of like you've seen with other educational AI platforms, the ability to be able to generate quizzes, worksheets, write lesson plans, those sort of things that we have found in, say, things like Magic School or School AI. And they're built right into this Quizizz platform as well, which is also kind of a nice feature that Amber did talk about when we met with her the other day, some of those things that they're developing for their product. Yeah, and so if I go back here to this home menu, then you can see that it also lays out on your dashboard some things that are trending in your state or in your region, and gives you some other sorts of activities that might be of interest to you. So those are kind of the big features that it has available. One of the things that I would point out is what David and I are going to show you today are things that we are going to put together under the tools that are available to teachers for free. There are some other ones and many good ones that are available if you upgrade and you go to that more premium version. If you like this after trying it out and are interested in what those costs would be, you could see here it would be $18 a month on an individual plan, or you'd have to contact them for school and district pricing. So those are kind of the overview things here about Quizizz. David, anything else to add that you want to highlight from this organizational landing page? I'll take my screen away. There you go. You've got the powers, man.
All right, sounds good. So, yeah, so from the dashboard, as Jeremy had pointed out, like if you're just trying to get started into something, the best place to start is going to be the create button. However, you can still search for some things here if you want to do that. But if I click the create button, what I'm going to actually do, you can do these as standalones if you would like. But I'm going to start with the lesson, and then what's nice is as we do the lesson, you'll actually see that some of these elements, assessment, interactive video, can be built into the lesson. So once you click lesson, it's going to prompt you for what kind you want to do, right? So like the create from Google Slides, you can do that if you would like, and you can get in there on that. There's a quiz add-on extension that can be used, and I'll show that a little bit later. And then you have the import slides option, which is nice because then you can pull things from your Google Drive if you would like to. So you just go into there, and you'll be able to access different things that are in your drive that you would like to pull in. We're not going to focus all of our attention here, but just know that these options are available to you. You can upload a PDF as well. There's some instructions on how to import from PowerPoint. But I would encourage you to explore those. There's going to be some things that maybe lend themselves more to that, particularly like if you've got lessons and you already have a basic structure of your lesson and you like it, but you want to add some of the different interactivity pieces that Quizizz offers, maybe making some, like a more static looking PowerPoint that you've used in the past, a little bit more interactive. Now, we're going to spend our time here and we're going to go into the create from scratch. This is obviously if you don't have a lesson on something and you want to just start from scratch and pull in some different elements to that. There's a little bit of a thing here on what's available, which is great. We'll cover some of this as we go through, but so I'm going to delete that for now. And if you add a new slide, I'm just going to build this out and I'm going to use ancient Egypt as my theme. So let's say I want to start with a slideshow from the very beginning. And what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate bits and pieces of what you see in this top menu. and then question type, and we'll get a little bit into like the open-ended and draw section as well. You can see like much of it is still needing that upgrade. So explore the free features first, start there, see if those are something that can, get you by, and then determine, yeah, I would really like to utilize some of these other ones. Particularly if you want to do like some of the graphing and math stuff, that's big. But let's start here. We're going to do a title slide. And what it will do is it will give you some options for templates. You can change the theme if you would like. So maybe I want to do something like this and apply to the slides. Let's grab this here. We'll actually do it this way. Let's grab this one and then apply to all, and that's our new style. Okay. So what I like about Quizizz is the ability to pull things in quickly and be able to edit them with relative ease. So I could say for this, we're going to say Ancient Egypt for our title. And we're going to do Take a Trip with Us Down the Nile. Now, you'll notice too, when you're editing text boxes and things like that, what's nice is if you click on it, you're actually going to see at the top this area appear up here where you can change the format of the text, and then you can also do some things like inserting links. There's some equation stuff there too, but for the sake of this, let's just make this a little bit bigger. We will do, I don't know if that's maybe too big. Let's go with that. Let's see. Probably we'll leave the font for now. This one we want to make a little bit bigger. It's a little bit small. Maybe we'll go with like 60. Something like that. And we're going to be a little bit quick on it. You could spend hours designing this if that's your thing. By all means, go ahead. But one of the things that I really like as well is that when you're working with images and things like that, you can pull images directly from a web search here. So now if I do replace image, right, it's going to give me 3 options. One of them is to upload from my computer directly. I can do that. I can also, so if I get rid of that image, this is where you'll find that. Okay. And then you have a paste link where you could grab the link of the image and put that in. But what I really like is this ability to search, and I can pull in Ancient Egypt, and I could utilize any of these here. Maybe I don't like the first page. I'm going to go to my second page here and see if I can find something that I feel is, very representative of Ancient Egypt. So maybe we grab, let's go with this one. That'll work. So it's going to put it into frame here. You can, modify it a little bit with stretching, and then you can save it. And then once it's in, there you got it. Now, this one, maybe we don't like it as much because of its, style of, it was more of a horizontal picture within that frame. But don't worry, you can, move the corners and the sides around to make it fit a bit more. All right, now that we've got our intro slide, we can build out a little bit of a lesson here. So what I'd like to do is we're going to add in some stuff with this, but I'm going to go down to open-ended. And since this is the start of our unit, I'm actually going to put in, what do you know about ancient Egyptian civilization? Okay. And so this would be like a, pre-assessment that we could do. And I'm going to put in, we can add a little bit of style to this here. You'll notice I'm running out of free images. That's something to pay attention to as well. Let's grab this one. Okay. Now, with any of the question type stuff, what you'll want to do is put in like your initial structure of it, and then just be aware you do have some formatting things available to you. But then on the right-hand side, you also have a point total option. Goes from ungraded up to 20. And then like for this pre-assessment, I would just do ungraded. And then you can actually put a time limit on how long they have as well. And then in addition to that, you can add an answer explanation. Now, this will be good for some situations where there's maybe a more definitive answer. I won't do anything like an answer explanation necessarily for this because it's just a pre-assessment and we want to have them be able to write, everything that they might know. Now, if we preview this, this is what it's going to look like to the student. So when they see it, when it's delivered to them, they're going to write their response in this area here. So, and that's where, it comes in handy with integrating Google Classroom and stuff like that, because then you're going to see what students said what, and it'll tag their response to them. So something to be aware of there. But that's our second slide. So now we have a pre-assessment built into our lesson. And then next, what I want to do is, okay, you've answered a pre-assessment. Now let's start to learn about it, right? Let's start to learn about ancient Egypt civilization. So what I might do next is I might throw in like a web page link here. And this, again, is another really great feature, because what we will do is I'm going to grab a link here. Okay, so this is Britannica. This is ancient Egypt. And so what we could do is actually take our link, and then we're going to insert it right here. It's going to show us a little preview of what it looks like, and we'll hit save. And then this will allow them to see the web page from Quizizz. And when the student is viewing it, what they can do then is actually scroll within the structure of the Quizizz assignment, which is awesome. You could open it in a new tab if you would like to, but I really like this particular thing that you can designate that web page as a focus for the students, and they can navigate through that here.
So there's no way that a kid can say, oh, I got lost, I couldn't find where I was supposed to go, because it's all right there.
Yeah, exactly. So and I love it because you can click on stuff, like it's no different than visiting the actual web page itself. It's just that it's built within the Quizizz structure that you have for this lesson. So it's really cool. Okay, so there it is. That's our third slide. Love that feature a lot. Then maybe what we do is, what if we want to pull in, like, there's some different options here, like text and media options with images and things. So like, you could build out something like this. I'm not going to put this in mine, but there's going to be some uses for some of this stuff as well. Then you get into, like, there's full screen media. This one is part of that premium feature. So what I am going to actually end up showing with this is the interactive video option. And what I love about this is that they've got this whole library of videos from really well-known channels. Like, you're obviously, like, Crash Course would be a good one for this. You can see on the left, they've got popular channels here. And what I like is you've got 3 options up top. One of them is to search through the Quizizz library. And the benefit of that is, like, if I say something like ancient Egypt, right? Civilization, it's going to scour all of the different channels for potential options for me. And so I really like that. And one of the things that's even cooler about that is that you have, like, you can filter by grade. Let's say for 9th grade, and then by subject. And what you'll notice is it will give you the video here, and then it will typically give you the grade level it's intended for. And then you have this next little tag here on the right is how many questions are part of this. So in other words, this is a quiz that has already been designed that you can use. You can pull in, YouTube videos by just pasting it. So if you wanted to grab a video and throw it in there, you can, or you can upload a video as well. But let's access the already made quizzes. I think that will be very helpful for us. And let's see if we can grab. I'm going to go down a little bit on this because I think. There's one in particular I'm looking for. Let's try this. Explain. And we'll just open this up. Oh, here it is. Okay, perfect. So this one, 6th through 10th grade, 10 questions. And what I'm going to do is select it. And then what I love is it gives you the video, and then it gives you all the questions so that you can look them over. And then it also gives you timestamps of when those questions are occurring. So this reminds me a little bit of Edpuzzle style, where you have the little teardrops and, where those questions can be found. So that's really great. And then what you can do from here is add it to your lesson, and there we go. Now you can also, when you're looking at this, if you want to, like, look at the questions and edit them, you can. You can also see if I can get out of here real quick. You can edit the questions individually. You could delete them. So let's say that I don't really like this question because we didn't talk about it. So I'm going to delete that question. Right. Let's say that I want to change this question. I could modify it.
As you're typing there, it does remind me of Edpuzzle, but with the way that the responses are on there, it also kind of reminds me a little of Kahoot, with the different colors with the terms filled in there too, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It's incorporating some of the best pieces of other platforms that have been around a little bit. So it's good. So you can modify this, and then you can also still change, like, the point total. So maybe you want some to be worth more. Maybe you want to give more time on it. Maybe this one does make sense to have an answer explanation. All that's available to you. And then the other thing that's great is that you have your questions, your initial questions, right? But you can also add in more questions. So in other words, take what's been created within the Quizizz library of content, and then make it your own, right? Change some of the questions, add questions. There's a lot here in terms of its versatility. And that's one of the greatest things about it, is the ability to do that. When it's, if you want to take a quick look at it, you can always click preview and go to what it will look like to the students. And so this is what the students would see, and they would select their answers. Right, so you can click on that. Okay, and they can go through, and you can take a look at what that's going to look like for them. And then going into the next thing, what we have is some other options here that I think are really interesting to take a look at. One of them is going to be this draw option. And so with this, excuse me, we would do something like fill in the Egyptian hierarchy using the pyramid. Okay, and I've exhausted my daily limit. That's sad. All right, so let's do this. I will show you.
That's rough, you know.
Yeah, it is. I'll show you here what I've got for the Egyptian hierarchy. This is one that I had created before, so I basically just pulled in this image. But then I want to show you what is allowed with this system when you're the student. So if you're, if we look at the preview, this is what it would look like to the student. And they could actually, ideally, you probably want to be on a pad or, some sort of touch device. But what I like is here I could put, I can grab my pen. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. Okay, so there's this little try it out button. So that's actually a good thing to point out, because if you're confused like I just was and you click the preview, that's just going to show you what it looks like. If you want to try it out as the student, this is where you actually want to click. So students will draw their responses here. And then what you can do is you actually start to write. And what I like about it is you see how it starts to flatten your writing, and it makes it a little bit more legible, which is nice. And you could change the color, you can change the thickness if you want. That's a little too thick. See if it recognizes what I'm trying to write. I don't know. Priests. Yeah, so that's why I like to stay thin on it. But if you mess up and it looks like that, you could always hit the undo button and make it a little bit more legible.
To me, this looks like it'd be a lot easier to do like on a touchpad device, touch Chromebook or an iPad, rather than trying to draw it with a trackpad or mouse.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, and then I think the last thing I want to show before Jeremy takes us into the flashcards is you also have like some fill in the blank. There is open-ended here, which we did earlier. Polls, word clouds, those are all part of the free version. But I want to show you the multiple choice. And this is very similar to what you would have seen within that Quizizz library when we pulled the Egyptian video, right? It's kind of that Kahoot looking style. Here, and Quizizz has made it their own. But I could do something like, let's see, like this here. So for this one, I just wrote in which of these is the god Horus, and then you put that in as your multiple choice question. You can add pictures with this. You can also do narration and video, but that's part of the premium. And then you could put in, I could have put in a text response there if the question was matching that, but in this case, I'm actually looking for them to identify based on image. So what I did was I just pulled in images here. So like if you go, this is what you would see, right? So it's that same searching out in Google Images for these, and then what you want to do is just select the correct answer. So when they choose that as the student, they're going to be able to click on it and see what the actual correct answer is there. So you can also change over from, if there's more, you could do multiple correct answers. So some questions, that's going to be more appropriate, but For this particular one, it's just going to be the single correct answer. So, all right, that's what I got. A lot of cool stuff to explore here, even just within the free version. Jeremy, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but that is my attempt at using Quizizz, courtesy of our introduction to it by Amber. So,
yeah, I mean, it kind of puts into light, I think, like the title of our last episode was I didn't know Quizizz could do all that, right? And yeah, Quizizz can do all that and more.
yep.
So a lot of great features that they have. And I think you did a great job pulling them all together and showing how you can really create this cohesive, integrated lesson plan using the tools all within Quizizz. And I think that's really neat how they've, I think, really grown and expanded as a company, that they've incorporated all of these different features into what just used to be kind of like a question and answer gamified type platform. And now it's like way more than that,
Yeah, and extremely accessible. Like it does not take, it's not a heavy lift to just throw in an already created PowerPoint that you've got, or like even just there, starting from scratch. I mean, it does not take much to get started, and you've already got like a pretty decent structure of a 45-minute class that you could take
Yeah.
students through, various pieces like the web page stuff. All that stuff is really great. So,
Yeah. No, pretty awesome. Okay, I'm going to throw my screen back up on here then and take us through one of the other new tools that is available with Quizizz. And this is the one I'm most excited about. And it's the flashcard tool. As a teacher, I remember first getting like Quizlet and being able to create flashcards and share those all out with my students. But, to perhaps their detriment, Quizlet didn't decide to comply with Minnesota student data privacy laws. And so, as such, is not a tool that we can recommend for high school age or younger students to use. And so, to see the flashcard tool come along here as part of Quizizz is one I'm really excited for. So I went to and found it under the create button, like where David showed us with beginning his lesson. And I went and opened up excuse me, the flashcard tool. And once you get in here, you have some different options. One of them is you can copy and paste definitions and terms together. So I'm thinking like doing this as like a vocabulary type situation where you've got a book perhaps that you're reading, like The Outsiders, and you want to quiz students, or you want them to be able to have some practice with their vocab terms. And so you can copy and paste those terms and definitions straight from whatever source you have them. If you have them in a document, like in your Google Drive, you can import them from Google Drive and bring them in there. You can also enter in the name of a topic, like if I'm going to do something on the outsiders, I'm going to type that in and ask it to just create some flashcards for me, maybe 10 of them. And we're going to do this under perhaps, what do we want to put this under? Is it really any of those? Oh, English. It's there. You just got to pay attention. And Outsiders, probably about 8th or 9th grade or so. And it's going to put some together that focuses on different areas, maybe character analysis or theme or whatever you want it to do. If you had an article from the web, you could put that in there and it's going to generate your vocab from those different places as well, or your flashcards. I'm going to choose to do from some text that I'm going to paste in. I've got some vocab terms here that come from the first 3 chapters of the book, The Outsiders. And I'm just going to copy that right from my spreadsheet here and drop them into Quizlet. And don't worry about how it looks, or not Quizlet. I'm going to drop them into Quizizz and don't care about how it looks. I'm just going to click Generate Flashcards. And so now it's working to create those cards based upon the terms and the definitions that I put in there. And just like you could do with some of the other ones as well, you can add certain features to it, like adding an image. If you were under the paid plan, you could record your voice saying the term and the definition, which definitely helps some students as well. I can take and I can edit the definitions from those cards, or if I wanted to make it a different form of the word, I can definitely do that as well. So you get some great features there in just creating these flashcards here to begin with. And so here I've got 15 of them that it created, and I'm ready to check out what they're going to look like first from the student point of view, right? So I'm going to go and I'm going to click on the preview button, and it's going to show me here, okay, there's the term. So I would say that term to myself, an asset. And so what is an asset? And I can try to guess what it is. And maybe it's like something of value that you have or you own or that you use. And then I'm going to click flip, and I'm going to read the definition for it. It's a useful or valuable quality. I said a thing. So I would say, okay, well, that looks pretty good. I'm going to say that I understand that and I'm ready to move on. So that just gives you a preview of what it looks like. But I think it's also helpful here to take a look. Oh, no, I'll get back to that. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. And so once I have the flashcards the way that I want them, I'm ready to publish them. And it's going to create this as a flashcard activity that I can then send out to my students. So I have different ways to send them out to my students. One of the ways that I can do that is to share it with my students and copy the link and give them the link to then paste into their browser. Maybe I could send it out in an LMS and give it to them. They then go using the link and they can open up a new tab in their browser, paste that link in, and it's going to take them to the place where you've got to put your name in first. So I'm just gonna maybe not put my last name in there. I'll just go Jeremy M, right? I can choose to have it play music while I'm working on this, or I can have it turn the music off. I can also tell it that I want to have the automated voice read it aloud to me, which I'm a little torn on. I played around with that the other day, and it's kind of robotic sounding. So if that's something that's a help to students, though, you can definitely do that. I'm just going to turn it off for now, and I'm going to click start. And then as I go through and I can click on the card and say, hey, I got that right, I can click I know. And it goes on to the next term. And I can quiz myself on that term and I could say, no, I didn't get that right. And then it says I'm learning. So what it's then doing is after you go through the whole cycle, it's going to bring back those terms that you said you're still learning. And so then it reviews those until you get to the point where you think you've mastered it. And so you go through and you click and you open and you click until you get all the way done. Now, on the teacher side of it as well, what you're able to do is you're able to go into this particular activity and check out the reports on this one and open that up. And you can see from within here that the number of students that have begun it and whether or not they finished or whether or not they're in progress. And you're able to check on the status of all of those different students as they go through it. So that's kind of a nice feature to be able to have with that as well. The other thing here with these that I was going to show, yay, okay. So Bob here went through after you have the whole class that's done with it, and it gives you kind of a leaderboard and then as well as an overview of how the students did, and in particular, how they did on the terms overall. So it says, hey, Bob, you did a great job. Other than that, you can also, when you share out, stop this, I'm gonna go back here. And when you share out this activity to students, you could choose to also send it out to them via Google Classroom as well. So let's try that out. I'm just going to go into some flashcards here, and I'm going to have AI generate some. Actually, let's do this. Let's delete this part and come back. I'm going to just start here, and I'm going to search for a topic. And we're going to go with the outsiders. And let's say, all right, let's move on to chapters 3 through 6, right? And we're going to work on, perhaps we want some vocabulary words here again. And we want flashcards to be maybe in that 11 to 20 range. And so now it's generating these ones here. And if I like these ones and I'm ready to send them out to my students, I'm going to go through and I'm going to assign it. And one of the things that you can do if you have synced your Google Classroom is to select that Google Classroom class, click Next, and go through like you would if you were going to create any assignment in Google Classroom. You know, you can call it vocab, description. If you're going to give it any sort of grading, then you need the premium feature of it. And then click the Next and get started. And it's going to create that for your classroom. So if I were Bob Smith, that student, I could go in and I could see it's been assigned to me. So great features here that they have to be able to accommodate students and safely and send out flashcard opportunities for them to review the content that they're studying for.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Hopefully you were able to at least take away one or two things that would really help you in your teaching. You know, whether it's creating lessons from scratch or pulling in different materials, there's a lot that Quizizz has to offer. Jeremy showed us some really great things with the flashcards. So make sure that you take some time to make a free account, check out the different features that are available to you. And if it's something you use, continuously, they do have that upgrade version. We don't get paid to tell you to sign up, so we just try to inform. Yeah. So take away what you will, and I think everybody will find that they gravitate towards different features more so than others. So yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.